In this video, we will show you how to install your WD Electronics Street Legal Kit on a 2024 or later Polaris RZR XP 1000. Remove the two Torx bolts on the center dash panel as shown, and slide it back to remove. Remove the two Torx bolts on the hood panel and carefully remove it. Set both panels aside. Remove the nut on the right side of the bolt that attaches the steering column to the tilt piston. Locate the turn signal lever and slip the pre-installed U-bracket over the steering column. Use the lower hole on the bracket as shown and slide it over the bolt for the tilt piston. Reinstall the nut on the other side and tighten the bolt down snug so that the switch cannot move. Route the wire for the turn signal lever as shown and use one of the included zip ties to secure the wire to the steering column. Feed the 4-pin connector under the dash. You will connect the turn signal lever using this connector in a later step. Locate the control module and power cable with the pulse accessory connector. Connect the power cable to the control module using the two sets of mating bullet connectors. Make sure the colors match up, red to red and black to black. Make sure the plastic insulation is fully covering both connections. Wait to connect the power cable until everything has been run to eliminate the possibility of blowing fuses while installing. Position the control module under the hood on top of the frame support directly in front of the radio antenna as shown. Route the cable covered in black wire loom with the white 4-pin connector under the dash towards the column switch lever you previously installed. Connect the two mating 4-pin connectors for the turn signal lever, making sure they clip together securely. Now you will install the front turn signals. Check the gap between the top of your headlights and the body panel. You will need a 1/4 to 1/3 inch gap between each headlight and body panel to install the sequential LED strips. Use the 3 adjustment screws on the back of each headlight housing to adjust the headlight gap accordingly. The strips are installed by pinching the groove on the bottom of each LED strip between the headlight housing and the body panel. Start at the outside corner and feed the end of the strip without wiring in between the headlight and body panel. Feed the wiring through the gap at the inside corner and pull it through. Start at the inside corner and align the strip as evenly as possible along the top edge of the headlight. Feed any excess length on the strip under the fender at the outside corner. Tighten the 3 headlight adjustment bolts down to secure the strip in place. Repeat the installation on both sides. Locate the ballast harness for the sequential strips. Connect one side of the harness to each LED strip you just installed. One side of the harness will be marked for the driver's side. Make sure you connect the driver's side ballast to the correct LED strip. Using the included zip ties, secure the ballasts and LED strip wiring under the hood, away from any hot or moving components. Route the 4-pin connector following the factory harnesses up into the space for the control module, securing it along the factory harness with zip ties. Connect the 4-pin connector on the ballast harness with the mating connector on the control module as shown. If the sequential LED strips are flashing opposite when tested, simply swap which ballast is connected to each strip. Remove the driver's bucket seat by pulling the strap on the seat back and carefully removing it. Remove the driver's rear bucket seat by pulling on the strap in between the seat cushion and the back cushion and carefully remove it. Repeat these steps to remove the passenger side seats as well. Now, you will need to remove the center tunnel. Remove the 4 Torx bolts on the driver's side of the tunnel in the locations shown. Next, remove the plastic push pins on the side and top of the panel as shown. Remove the 3 Torx bolts on the passenger side of the tunnel in the locations shown. Remove the last plastic push pin in this location. Use the groove on the back side of the shift knob to carefully separate the 2 halves. We recommend using a plastic tool to avoid damaging the plastic. Once the halves are separated, rotate the top cap around to gain access to the screw. Remove the Torx bolt and slide the shift knob free. With the shift knob removed, the front tunnel panel can now be removed. You may need to shift the vehicle in order to gain clearance. Remove it and set it aside. Rotate each of the 4 locks on the rear firewall panel. Once the locks have been released, carefully remove the rear firewall panel. On the driver's side, remove the 2 Torx bolts in the locations shown on the rear center tunnel. Remove these 2 push pin fasteners shown, one on the side and the other on the top of the panel. On the passenger side, remove these 2 Torx fasteners on the locations shown. Remove the last plastic push pin in this location. Look inside of the front opening of the panel and make a note of how many wires for the auxiliary power port are connected before disconnecting them. Carefully remove the panel. Now, you will run the long black cable to the rear of the machine. Connect the 3-pin connector to the mating connector on the control module. Route the end of the cable down, following the factory wiring harness, through the firewall grommet shown. Locate the end of the cable near the firewall under the dash and pull all of the slack through. Run the cable following the factory harness all the way to the rear firewall and through the small space in the panels shown here. Once through the firewall, follow the factory harness all the way to the driver's side taillight. Starting on the passenger's taillight, disconnect the factory 4-pin connector from the taillight by lifting the locking tab and sliding it free. Install the 4-pin taillight adapter in your kit with the long white wire in line with the taillight and factory wiring harness. Feed the end of the white wire with the bullet connector following the taillight harness across the rear bumper toward the driver's taillight. Locate the driver's side 4-pin adapter with the red and black wires with bullet connectors. Connect the red, black, and white bullet connectors to the mating bullet connectors on the long black cable you ran previously. Make sure the colors match up and that the plastic insulation is fully covering each of the connections. Disconnect the factory harness on the driver's side taillight and install the 4-pin inline adapter with the extra 2-pin connector in line with the taillight and factory harness. Secure all wiring on the taillight adapters and the black cable away from any hot or moving parts using the included zip ties. Attach the rounded end of the horn bracket onto the horn stud with the included nut and hand tighten it. Inside of the machine, choose a switch slot in your dash and remove the cover. Feed the whole harness through your chosen slot and clip the rocker switch into place. Under the dash, feed the wire with the red and black spade connectors through the grommet in the firewall as shown. Route the 2-pin connection under the dash to the control module and connect it to the mating connector on the module. Locate the wire with the spade connectors for the horn on the outside of the firewall grommet and route it following the factory wiring to the opening for the hood. Remove the bolt in the location shown. Because the spade connectors are reversible, you can connect them to the horn in either direction. Clock the horn so that the opening faces the front of the machine and tighten the bracket down so that it does not move. Install the horn under the hood using the bolt you removed to secure the bracket. Open your license plate kit and locate the LED plate frame. Hold the frame in the space under the rear camera and use the frame as a template to mark the top 2 holes. Once the holes have been marked, carefully drill them out with a 3/8 inch drill bit. Make sure that there are no wires or anything that could be damaged behind the locations you marked before drilling. Insert one of the included black rubber well nuts into each hole that you drilled and push them in flush. Connect the 2-pin connector on the power wire for the license plate to the mating connector on the driver's side taillight adapter. Route the other end with the 2 bullet connectors behind the bumper and out the hole under the Polaris logo. Connect the bullet connectors on the power cable to the mating connectors on the LED frame. Make sure that the colors match up and that the plastic insulation is fully covering the connections. Cut out a 1/2 inch notch for the wires on the license plate frame using scissors or side cutters so that the wires are not pinched or cut by the license plate. Install the plate into the bracket and hold the bracket in place. Use the 2 silver screws that were pre-installed into the well nuts to secure the LED frame to the bumper. Keep downward pressure on the frame as you tighten so that the nuts expand and grip from the back side. Tighten the bolts snug, but do not over-tighten. Pull any excess wire on the power cable behind the bumper and secure it away from any hot or moving components with the included zip ties. We include a bracket for the license plate frame as an alternate if you do not want to install in this location. We include 2 different options for dash indicator lights. One standalone harness that is compatible with all trims and one harness for integration into the instrument cluster. The instrument cluster version is only compatible on sport and premium models. The Ultimate trim has ride command and does not come equipped with a compatible instrument cluster. You will only install one of the following 2 harnesses. Drill 2 holes for the blue dash indicator lights. Our recommended location is shown here. If installing in a different location, be sure to make sure there is 2 inches of open space behind the location so they can be secured and connected properly. Install one of the blue LEDs into each hole. Once the LEDs are inserted, install one lock washer and nut onto each LED and tighten them down. Locate the dash harness and connect one side of the harness to the terminals on each LED. Once both LEDs have been connected, route the 4-pin connector on the dash indicator harness to the control module and connect it to the mating connector as shown. For non-Ultimate models with a digital instrument cluster, we include a harness to integrate into the built-in indicator arrows in the cluster. Access and remove the connector on the back of the instrument cluster, disassembling as necessary. Locate the dash indicator harness with the 2 exposed pins for the instrument cluster arrows. Open the gray cover on the instrument cluster connector by separating the 2 halves. Remove the clear gray cover by depressing the white tab on each side of the cover and sliding it free. Remove the 2 blue dummy plugs from slots number 6 and 7. Insert the black wire into slot 6 and insert the pin on the red wire into slot 7. Make sure the ends of all the pins are lined up evenly and reinstall the clear gray cover back over the pins. Route the harness out the hole in the side of the gray cover following the factory harness and clip the cover closed. Route the 4-pin connector under the dash and connect it to the mating connector on the control module. Locate the Polaris Pulse accessory bar directly in front of the control module. Remove the dust cap in your desired position by lifting the wings on the cap and sliding it free. Connect the power cable for the control module to your chosen slot on the Pulse connector. Make sure all of your wiring is secured away from any hot or moving parts using the included zip ties. Now you're ready to test your turn signals, horn, and LED license plate frame.